So with that said, I'm a very generous interviewer, so I did provide you with a long list of questions of where we would start. But really, as I started to just do more research on you, I realized how personal this was to you because this was really inspired by your family's needs, especially dealing with things like eczema. And I saw on your YouTube channel specifically, you very much talked about dealing with dry, itchy skin. So how has your personal connection shaped your approach to skincare?
Well, when I was growing up, I didn't know what it was. I went to a dermatologist, and they said, "Oh, you just have sensitive skin. You have sensitive skin." And it just seemed everything itched me. And it's annoying. I mean, everything from like certain fabrics, pantyhose, right? Pantyhose would just itch me. And, people would look at me like, I was like, okay, something's wrong with you. Like everything can't possibly itch you. So then, as I became an adult, actually, first, my son and husband actually were diagnosed with eczema before me. And so I wanted to help them because I knew how it was having this, air quotes, itchy skin or sensitive skin growing up. So I know how annoying that is. And so I wanted to help them because I understood. And so and when I started reading about the steroid creams and all that, and I was like, no. And I remember my grandmother, those ancestors, they carry those traditions from wherever they come. We wherever they come from, the South or whatever country you've come from, you carry these old traditions with you. And so, and then when I was diagnosed, first I was misdiagnosed with eczema, which is common for African American and just Black and brown skin. We're often misdiagnosed. So it was misdiagnosed first, but then it got worse. And so then when the doctor was like, okay, I'm sending you to the dermatologist. And then that's when I was diagnosed with eczema. And then that's when it all started to click. And I'm like, you know what? Back then, and when I started doing more and more research, I was thinking, you know what? Back then, it wasn't sensitive skin. I had eczema, but no one ever diagnosed it. No one ever said that. It was just like, oh, you just have sensitive skin. Well, only just use sensitive skin products or whatever, which still didn't work. And so, and I just wanted to, and especially being a new mom, when something happens to your child or your children, you always blame yourself. It's always like, what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. Oh my goodness, I'm going to scar this child for life. What did I do? So, and I remember my grandmother, she was famous for her, we used to call them old wives remedies, but they were just actually traditions, African traditions that were actually just passed down the generation. And the thing about it is that a lot of it is passed down through story or through word of mouth, right? So I didn't have anything to go back to look at a book, or my grandmother's no longer with us. So, and I called my aunt, who's actually only 2 years older than me, and I was like, "Do you remember what she used to use?" I mean, some of the times, Stephanie, this stuff didn't taste good, it didn't smell good, but by golly, it worked. It worked. And that's when I just immersed myself into herbalism, African herbalism and the botanicals. And that's how I started. Because I was like, and then when I went to the pharmacist, because when I was diagnosed, I was left with a prescription of steroid cream, which is, it has historically been the go-to for eczema is steroid creams. And then when you do your pharmacist consult, when he's like, "Oh, let me tell you how to use this," and when he told me, "Well, how this works is it stops the growth of your skin," I'm like, what? It stops the growth of your skin, and he's like, "Oh yes, and then you might get topical steroid withdrawal." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, your skin goes through like this addiction withdrawal syndrome, and using steroid creams for a prolonged period." Then you get this, it's an irritation. It's a really nasty skin reaction. And so it's like, oh, no, thank you. And I nicely slid it back across the counter. And I was like, okay, I need to find a better way because that's just not the route I want for my family. Yeah.
Yeah.